The year is 2024. The United States, a nation accustomed to political drama, finds itself at the edge of its seat once more. President Joe Biden, after months of speculation, has made a momentous announcement: he will not seek re-election. The news sent shockwaves across the nation and the world. For months, political analysts and everyday Americans had been engrossed in discussions about Biden's future. Now, the answer was a resounding no, leaving a void in the political landscape. The 2024 election, once a distant point on the horizon, had suddenly become a much more complex and unpredictable affair. For Joe Biden, the decision to step away from the political arena was undoubtedly a difficult one. A man who had dedicated his life to public service, who had held the highest office in the land during one of the most tumultuous periods in American history, was now choosing to step back. His presidency, marked by both triumphs and challenges, had been a roller coaster ride. From navigating the COVID-19 pandemic to grappling with the aftermath of the January 6th insurrection, Biden had faced a seemingly endless barrage of crises, yet the weight of these challenges had clearly taken its toll. The once sprightly septuagenarian now appeared visibly older, his gait slower, his demeanor more subdued. As he prepares to exit the political stage, Biden leaves behind a complicated legacy. His supporters will point to his handling of the pandemic and his efforts to restore America's standing on the world stage. The atmosphere in the East Room of the White House was thick with anticipation. Members of the press waited with bated breath for the president to speak. Rumors had been swirling for days, but nothing concrete. Biden, flanked by Vice President Kamala Harris and advisors, stepped up to the podium. "My fellow Americans," he began, "I stand before you tonight not to announce a campaign, but to share a deeply personal decision. After much deliberation and with the unwavering support of my family, I've decided that I will not seek re-election as President of the United States in 2024. The news, though expected by some, still sent shockwaves through the room. The immediate aftermath of Biden's announcement was one of stunned silence, followed by a flurry of activity. Within minutes, the news had spread like wildfire through the corridors of power and across social media. For the Democratic Party, Biden's decision represented both a challenge and an opportunity. On the one hand, it left them without an incumbent president to rally behind. On the other hand, his withdrawal opened the door for a new generation of leaders to emerge. The Democratic bench, while not lacking in talent, had been somewhat overshadowed by Biden's presence. Now ambitious hopefuls could begin to make their case to the American people. The party, still reeling from Biden's bombshell, had to quickly regroup and coalesce around a new standard-bearer. In the wake of Biden's announcement, all eyes turned to Vice President Kamala Harris. As the second in command, she was the natural heir apparent for the Democratic nomination. Her historic position made her a compelling figure, a symbol of progress and change. Harris, a former senator from California, was no stranger to the spotlight. She had built a reputation as a tough and effective advocate, a skilled debater, and a charismatic campaigner. However, Harris also faced her share of challenges. Her approval ratings were lower than Biden's had been at the same point in his presidency. Despite these challenges, Harris projected an air of confidence and determination, ready to lead. While Kamala Harris may have been the presumptive frontrunner for the Democratic nomination, the road ahead was far from certain. One of her most immediate challenges would be to unite a Democratic Party still grappling with internal divisions. The progressive and moderate wings of the party often disagreed on policy and strategy. Harris would need to bridge this divide, finding a way to appease both factions. Another challenge would be to define her own vision for the country. As vice president, she had largely played a supporting role promoting Biden's agenda. Now, she would need to step out of his shadow and articulate her own ideas. Perhaps the most daunting challenge would be to overcome the historical weight of her candidacy. As the Democratic Party grappled with the implications of Biden's announcement, the Republican Party was far from united in its response. While some saw Biden's withdrawal as a sign of weakness, others were more cautious. The Republican Party, much like its Democratic counterpart, was grappling with its own internal divisions. The rise of Donald Trump had split the party into two camps, those loyal to Trump and those who sought to distance themselves from his rhetoric. This divide was evident in the reactions to Biden's announcement. Some prominent Republicans wasted no time in launching attacks on Harris. Others were more measured, focusing their critiques on her policy positions rather than her identity. The Republican Party sensed an opportunity in the chaos created by Biden's withdrawal. No discussion of the 2024 election could be complete without addressing the elephant in the room, Donald J. Trump. The former president, despite his loss in 2020, remained a potent force in American politics. Trump had repeatedly hinted at a possible comeback bid, teasing his supporters with the prospect of a Trump 2.0 presidency. His rallies continued to draw large crowds, his supporters energized by his fiery rhetoric. Biden's withdrawal created a sense of uncertainty and instability. Trump, with his brash style, was perfectly positioned to capitalize on this sentiment. His potential candidacy, however, was not without its complications. He faced numerous legal challenges, and his divisive rhetoric alienated moderate voters. The 2024 election, already shaping up to be a pivotal moment in American history, had taken on an even greater sense of urgency in the wake of Biden's withdrawal. The nation, deeply divided along political, social, and cultural lines, seemed to be teetering on the brink. The issues at stake were profound and far-reaching. The economy, healthcare, climate change, racial justice, voting rights, and the very soul of American democracy. The two major parties offered starkly different visions for the future. The Democrats, energized by the prospect of a Harris candidacy, were acutely aware of the challenges ahead. They needed to articulate a clear and compelling message. The Republicans, meanwhile, faced their own set of challenges. The stakes were incredibly high, with profound consequences for the United States and the world. As the dust settled from Biden's bombshell announcement, the political world was abuzz with speculation. Who would emerge from the pack to claim the Democratic nomination? Could Harris overcome the historical odds and become the first female president of the United States? Would Trump, despite the baggage he carried, be able to reclaim his hold on the Republican Party and mount a successful comeback bid? The road to 2024 was shrouded in uncertainty, the political landscape as unpredictable as ever. Pollsters and pundits offered their predictions, but in this volatile environment, their pronouncements felt more like educated guesses. The only certainty was that the next few years would be a tumultuous time for American politics. The 2024 election, regardless of its outcome, would represent a pivotal moment for American democracy. The choices made by the American people, the leaders they elected, and the policies they pursued would have a profound impact on the future of the nation and its place in the world. Would the United States emerge from this period of division and uncertainty stronger and more united? Or would the forces of polarization continue to erode the fabric of American society? Would the country reaffirm its commitment to democratic values, or would it succumb to the allure of authoritarianism? The answers to these questions remained elusive, the future uncertain. However, one thing was clear: the fate of American democracy rested in the hands of its citizens. It was up to them to engage in the political process, to hold their leaders accountable, and to demand a government that represented the will of the people. The hope remained that the nation would find a way to heal its divisions and chart a course toward a more perfect union.